Here's to nothing. Education.
Let us pray. Creator God of vision and hope, we ask your blessing on everyone gathered in this place, whether in person or online, everyone gathered for this cause of community leadership. Thank you, God, for hearts and minds dedicated to service. As we meet this evening, give us insight and inspiration, perspective and patience to imagine a world to which you call us, filled with peace and justice and sufficient resources for all. Help us to hear one another's views, strengthen our collaboration, and affirm our resolve to help our community flourish. Make your presence known to us as we discern our life together in the upcoming voting. Give us wisdom in our decision making. Give us courage to enter into new directions and to be open to where your Spirit guides. We ask all this in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pastor, I do appreciate you taking the time to come up. Pledge allegiance. Everybody, would you lead us to pledge allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, in your packet, minutes from the July 18th, 2023 meeting was in there. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as stated?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any corrections, changes? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. In your packet, you had the committee reports and the public. There's committee reports on the podium and all the paperwork for the council meeting. Anything for the departments or committees? Yes, sir. Sir?
We've just finished 1 month of the new year, the first. We certainly don't have any numbers, you know. And we talked before that the sales tax is going to come in differently this year because of the some people reporting on a quarterly basis. So even if we get to 1 month figures in, I don't know if that would be an accurate figure for us to work with. I'd like to put in the form of a motion that the department heads get with their committee chairman. It's a busy time of year, sometime in the next, say, month or so, and look at your budget. Some of them were, we've been trying to clean up the computer here in the clerk's office with terminology. They've given you a sheet and requested that you fill it out with the same terminology, with the same sheet with it for everybody, so the terminology be the same. So maybe if you could work on your budget and get that transferred over, so they won't be looking to try to determine, it's maybe on your budget sheet one way, but it's in their computer another. So I think they're still trying to transfer to numbers, instead of names on that, but maybe this will all help with that. But I'd like to put that in the form of a motion to, so we'll have this worked out later on, so we can try to have a better review on a quarterly basis.
So your motion is for the committees and the department heads
To meet sometime,
within next month, and
I don't want to say even before the next council meeting, because there's a lot of things going on at this time.
that's a fair motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Everyone understand the motion?
Will that maybe help us find some budget that's not available as far as their office is concerned?
Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else from the department or committee reports?
Mayor?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
The city has the opportunity to receive a grant for a TAP grant, which is a transportation alternatives program where we can get some more walking trail put in. Ms. Combs has got more information on it if she, let her tell you a little bit more about it. She's worked on it a little more than I have, quite a bit more.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I'm Melissa Combs, Director of Economic Development for Duncombe County. It's been a minute since I've seen you. Like he said, TAP, or Transportation Alternatives Program, is a grant that MoDOT is calling for applicants for at this time. It is a federally funded program that provides opportunities to expand transportation choices. It's primarily geared at non-drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, children traveling to and from school, and those who need to be involved with the American with Disabilities Act of 1990. The funding is 80-20, so 20% will come from us, 80% federal government. The project must be a minimum of $100,000 and a maximum of $500,000. So Street Commissioner Keith Westerfield and I have identified 2 possible projects that we can apply for separately or together. I want to describe those to you today and see if we want to move forward with those. First up, in 2021, the City of Kennett applied for this grant, but it was not funded. The application was for construction of a sidewalk along Floyd Street with a crosswalk, striping, traffic control, and lighting. I've got an image of that original map. You can see the change from 2021 that I think will positively impact us now is on this side of the road. You know, we now have an industry Delta Peanut, and on this side, Kennett High School will be utilizing soccer fields beginning in fall of '23. So essentially, we wouldn't have to do anything but get our engineering numbers changed and resubmit this. So I think that that's a good opportunity to bring that back. The second, okay, going back to that, the cost when we applied in 2021 was just at about $250,000. So with inflation, we can expect that that's going to change. The second project was brought to my attention last week by a state employee who was actually traveling through the area, and they said, "Are you familiar with TAP?" And I said, "Yes, we're looking at it right now." And she said, "Well, you know that the crosswalks downtown would be eligible if you wanted to put crosswalk lights in, and you all know that's where we had a tragic accident 2 years ago where there was 1 death. So we've looked into that, and we can apply for TAP funds for that. Now, Mr. Westerfield and I have no idea what we're looking at as far as pricing until we get the engineers in to see what that looks like. We could pursue crosswalks just at the intersection where the accident occurred, or you could go from both sides of the courthouse.
I've got a
So,
question.
yes, sir.
Randy, when they were talking about, MoDOT was talking about replacing that light and such down there, did that include a crosswalk, that type of stuff?
It's just on their future, I believe that's 2026.
Yeah, so I've got that, and it's on the STIP for 2026. It says signal replacement at Route 84 and Kennett Street in Kennett, and Kennett Route 84 and Main Street in Kennett. So that tells me that both sets of traffic signals will be worked on in 2026, but I don't know if that includes a crosswalk.
Right.
But there is one at Floyd and Michael. There's a crosswalk signal there.
Walmart.
Walmart there.
Okay.
I have a question. Can that 20% come out of transportation tax?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not going to impact their,
No, it won't impact the regular budget, just
okay,
transportation.
that was my main concern.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're not interrupting. Ask all the questions you want. I don't know all the answers, but we're gonna work through it together. I also drew up a preliminary map. So this is the crosswalk where that incident occurred. If you just wanted to target that one. And being a pedestrian who walks in that area frequently, to me, that's the most commonly traveled and the most dangerous part. Today, actually, I was trying to get to the other end, and I was trying to get over here, and I chose to go here because it was easier as far as crossing traffic myself. But I've also circled yellows as maybes if you wanted to pursue the whole thing. But again, I don't know what MoDOT is gonna do in 26 either. But I think if you approach this now and you put in the 20%, that would prove your interest and economic development for that area, and would get on MoDOT's radar, because we also want them to be focused on resurfacing 84 through town too, sooner than later. And I think if we apply for this now, that would show them that we are aware of their schedule and that we're interested in helping with improvement.
I think lighting on both intersections would be a better option.
I agree too. So we can go for either one of those projects or go together. And speaking to the MoDOT engineer today, he said go ahead and slide them in together, and then he would let us know if it needs to be separated.
If you put them together, will you go over the 500,000 though?
That's what we need to see about, because we don't know. So, grant writing, because this is a grant, and Kennett is a member of the Bowie Regional Planning Commission. And because you are a member in good standing, the RPC has let me know that they are willing to draft the grant at no extra charge to you. And then if it is awarded, they will attempt to gather their administration fee in the award amount, but in the event that they are not allowed to include administration, they will not include administration because you are a good standing member. So that would be my recommendation as far as writing the grant. And then Keith Westerfield has given me a bunch of information. I've started the narrative, so collaboratively, Keith, myself, and the RPC can get it done.
Can we go up to 100,000 from the transportation tax? You had the.
Yes, we had planned, to spend around $250,000 to $300,000 on intersections and a couple $100,000 in resurfacing. So we've got 100, 200,000 right now if we're not going to do any of that other
So
work.
maximum exposure we're going to have is 100,000.
And that's what, a month and a half of revenue from the
Yeah.
transportation tax?
About 2 months maybe.
So
So
you wanna make
800,000
that
goes to the
motion?
county.
You need that motion tonight?
Yeah, let me go through a couple more things with you. We're on the reason why we're bringing it to you right now, we do need a motion. But we have to decide what we're doing. If you want to pursue the downtown, the deadline to contact MoDOT is this Thursday. The entire grant isn't due until August 24th. But if you're going to impact MoDOT right away, you have to let the engineers know by this Thursday what your intentions are so that they can let us know if that's doable or not. So the sidewalk along Floyd Street does not impact right of way. We can apply for that by the end of the month, no problem. But the things downtown will impact MoDOT right away. And they've gotten a heads up that they need the official notice by this Thursday. So that's why we need to, if we intend to apply, we need to make a motion tonight with that intention. Do we want to go for both things or one? And then back to your question on the 500,000. So we'll have to get our engineers in to look at it and see. We are allowed to do 2 applications. So if it does exceed 500,000, then we can separate them into 2 separate applications. We will just have to make a decision on which one we want to prioritize, and the Transportation Committee can do that at a later time. So for timeline of events, I know that this is all a lot of information to throw at you, but this is a great way to get federal funding to us in a big way. So tonight we need to vote on whether or not to proceed, if we want to go for both. I think that we should. And then who you want to write it. Again, my recommendation is the RPC. If you do vote to proceed, then tomorrow morning, immediately I'll get with the RPC to get the right-of-way application to MoDOT. We then, tonight, probably need to go ahead and schedule a public hearing that we can do before the next council meeting. And at the August 15th council meeting, we need to approve a resolution saying that the council intends to participate at the 20% match. And also there is a maintenance agreement that we have to agree to maintain the property for 25 years. So that has to be in the resolution, but I have the sample resolution with me.
Quick question on that. If we're putting in lighting,
Yeah.
I mean, we're maintaining the lighting, or is that just maintaining?
Maintaining the crosswalk lights that you put in is my understanding.
So they don't go over to MoDOT? We don't turn them over to MoDOT?
I don't know the answer.
Okay. Because I don't think MoDOT would want us in their box
Yeah.
on their signal system.
Right.
That would be,
I think they probably,
You know, twice in the past probably 6 months, that main one that I'm talking about has fallen down or been blown over by wind, and MoDOT's had to come fix it. So I'm sure electrically all of that ties in together, but I don't know how that.
the old light, the old signals, they were there, and they wanted to get rid of them because of the expense. I don't know the details on it, but it's, I think it'd be good to have, you know. But that's up to the council.
I have a comment for you.
Yes, sir.
One of the first things we did when we passed this transportation taxes, we divided it up amongst what we were gonna prioritize and where we'd spend our money. And one of the things that the committee we had at that time determined is that they would like to see the sidewalks expand from the schools to where there was a connection between the schools, and we've not been able to accomplish that yet. And so that was to go, what's 10% of our money. We need to, I wonder if there's a way we could tie that into it as well, and then go ahead and definitely do 2 projects, really apply for 2 projects with it.
Randy might know, if it's one of the federally funded streets, would it apply for that? Like Washington and those streets?
Actually, that doesn't make that much difference on that, on the TAP grant.
Wouldn't?
Uh,
I mean, yeah, if the money would fund it, sure, we could.
Be a way to-
Melissa, do you know if the money, if they would fund that?
What,
The only problem's gonna be if you're touching right of way, MoDOT right of way.
which you
Anyway.
said Floyd Street would,
Floyd would not.
okay, so.
But around the
Again,
school system,
can we make a motion to apply for the crosswalk lights at the square? And we don't know what the cost figures will be on that. After they get those in the next motion, I'll make it that we do Floyd Street project and additional sidewalks if available, if the funding is there. If there's room and latitude in getting up to 500,000.
I would suggest passing the resolution as it is tonight. Then if you want to make other resolutions to bring that,
That's fine.
or change that, do that later. But since we have to have
Yes,
the
now.
application in now, let's go ahead and pass what the resolution prepared is, let's pass that. And then if we need to make alterations or go in a different direction or whatever, do that. But since time is of the essence.
Are we gonna put the number of projects that we're gonna apply for, 1, 2, or 3, or
2, only 2. Can we do, correct?
Well, could we,
maximum's 2?
Yeah, worry about that later.
Okay.
We're just
Can
doing a
we-
resolution to
Yeah,
move forward.
today, what you need to do,
Is that
because
what-
by Thursday, we've gotta tell the engineer, yes, we intend to do the downtown one, or no, we're not. The rest
Okay.
of them, it can wait, because we
Okay,
don't
the
have to
downtown
wait
one's all we
until
got to
August
worry about.
24th.
That's right, right
But
Okay.
we need to go ahead and get a hold of our engineer, so we can get them to start drawing for us.
Gotcha, all right. So anything's possible for the
Right.
next one? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution that you've already drafted.
I'll second that.
You need to do.
Just read the title.
A resolution of the City of Kennett, Missouri stating intent to seek funding through the Missouri Department of Transportation Alternatives Program, and authorizing the mayor to pursue activities in an attempt to secure funding. You want me to continue with it? Whereas.
No, I think just reading it by title is sufficient.
Okay. And then it just states that we intend to put in 20% of project costs and maintain for 25 years. And also to note, in the past, with this grant, you got additional points if you put in more than 20%. That is not the case this year.
Okay. So we need, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We got a motion already on the floor.
Yeah.
We still have, Steve second. So there is a motion and a second, discussion.
I have a question. Okay, and this may really be for Jan. There was a grant at some point about this walking trail. Is that also along Floyd Street?
That has been turned over to the park department, because
Okay.
it was gonna be an Indian park, or still is. And the way it was, that I submitted it was to connect the 2 parking lots. So it was within the park itself. I don't know, if we have Mr. Figgins, or is he still on the park board?
Yeah, we made some changes to that, but the project does not have to be funded completed until 2026. The street department delayed its asphalt purchase
Yes.
because they delayed paving for this coming year. So right now, we're on hold on that, but we may look at alternative methods.
That one
This is not that
tied
project.
with this one,
Right.
because that is a loop recreational trail. This one specifies that any walking trails have to be purely transportational and from getting
Got it.
to major points of contact in the city.
Okay, so, but is it possible then we would have that trail kind of running parallel to the sidewalk?
It would
or
not.
something? No, it'd be different, okay. I just wanted to be clear
Yes.
on,
Now, we will include that in the talking point with those those changes that have happened, like at any park we're putting the soccer in, we will have that recreational trail. It's a good part of the narrative, but it won't impact this.
the other question I have then is, for this sidewalk, for this granting would not cover any planting or benches or anything that we might want along that sidewalk. It would just be for the infrastructure or the concrete.
Sidewalk,
correct.
lights, crosswalks,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it, wasn't it? The sidewalk,
Yeah.
crosswalks and lights?
Some
And
sensors.
striping. That's the
Yeah, I'm sure,
crosswalk.
well, I don't know about striping, maybe signage, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
there
guess
is
it was-
striping on it.
Was it? Okay. I couldn't remember.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, that's one area getting a lot of attention, which I think is great, because it's such a heavily used area.
And it runs from in front of Dr. James, by the ditch, it comes off onto the road. It will go from there across the driveway going into Indian Park, all the way down to Center Street, and cross back over where the walking trail goes, and goes down Russell Street.
Thank
So
you.
then it would go on around to, that would actually goes all the way to the middle school, and back around through there.
Thank you.
What about the drainage ditch?
Excuse me?
Is that gonna be an issue with the drainage ditch? Does Little River don't have anything to do with that?
That drainage ditch is,
I'm just saying.
Little River.
That's not Little River.
yeah, it's,
Well, whatever it
drainage
is.
district number 3 is who
Yeah, I
owns
mean,
it, but they don't do much to it.
Walking trail's not that wide.
Yeah.
The walking trail's not that wide.
Recreational waterway.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
I do think we need to schedule a public hearing. Are you okay with scheduling that for August 15th at 6 o'clock?
Let's do that.
Okay. And then we can finalize what all we need to do on August 15th to get in by August 24th.
All right.
You said August what? Okay.
August 15th, the night of the next council meeting, we'll have a public hearing.
Not necessarily.
And
24th.
deadline, August
Has
24th.
to attend, it just has to be a public hearing, so the public
Voice their consent.
can voice their concern.
Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
do you feel like with just that resolution, you have enough latitude to do what you need to do to get this project put together? Or do we need to give you some additional latitude after you start getting dollar figures in that go up to 500,000?
No, I think that that's okay, what we've got going now. If we need to make any changes, then I can communicate with Transportation Committee between now and the 15th. And if we have any major changes, then we can communicate that.
With the time being short, I just want to be sure that she's got the latitude to do what she needs to do.
Yeah, I think that we'll be okay, because we've all talked about the understanding that we may need to do 2 separate applications depending on that dollar amount. And then transportation can prioritize 1 and 2. And also I'll add that if we don't get funded for either project or both projects, next year we expect an equally comparable amount of funding that we can go for it again. Okay.
But it's been quite a while since the city received a TAP grant. So,
Probably 8 years or so.
yeah, so, that doesn't mean anything. The grant still has to be a good grant, but, years ago, the regional planning directors from the area and MoDOT employees, select the grants. And, we had a real black mark at one time, but all those personnel have changed, so, hopefully that black mark's gone.
I need you to, Jay.
Sign off.
And Brenda, I need you to sign that. An initial next to my marking that I made on it. The original, the last time I made it.
Ms. Combs, we appreciate this.
Sir.
I think on behalf of the city and the council, I can also say we do appreciate the work you put into the Simtech opening along with the other ladies here.
And then Jan.
Aye. I mentioned it, but you weren't here last meeting, and I want you to know you were,
I came begging
Appreciate
for
it.
help, and they were quick to jump on it.
they were very much. But we do appreciate the work you put into it.
Did you say initial this part? was
Yeah,
changed?
initial that. Initial it first.
Probably the change.
Yeah. Take that first part. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Keith and I will be in touch.
Yes, sir.
More finance. The previous councils, at some point in time, had passed a motion to move $13,000 a month from capital improvement sales tax to the fire station reserve account. Talking with Chief Davis and everything, we feel like most all those expenses are in, and that no longer needs to take place, but I think that takes council action to reverse council action. So I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's a pretty weak eye, huh?
One more.
I've got a question for Jan. Do we know the balance due for the fire station?
I looked at that, it is just under 2 million.
Say again?
Just under 2 million. Those,
Okay.
those payments are, I don't know what the payments are monthly, $11,972 a month. Final payment in 2046.
When do we expect completion of the fire station?
I'm gonna discuss that when I get a chance to.
Okay. All right, I'll wait.
Keep standing up.
Also, along those lines, council had passed at some time to transfer $20,000 from general revenue checking to general revenue savings. And with our current financial condition, I don't think that's necessary to be done any longer. If we ever get to where we feel like we're comfortable, we can change it again. But again, I'd like to make that a motion that we not do the transfer any longer.
I'll second that as long as we do it maybe until December and reassess at that point and,
A pause.
yeah, pause it until then.
Reassess.
Well, if you remember, we just moved 200,000
Yes.
from savings to, so if we step that, we'll be okay.
Great. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
All right,
Whoop, whoop, how about
That's a motion with. the
amendment?
correct.
Okay. So motion with amendment, all in favor say aye.
All right.
All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else, Mr. Carter?
No, sir, thank you.
All right.
Quit for now. Quit for now.
Get jumped up.
Been sitting on go for a while. Mayor, City Council, just a few things real quick, and Steve, I promise I'll get to yours quickly. We've been very busy with fires, and the last several that we've had, unfortunately, has been incendiary, as I talked to you all the last time. But since then, we've had another incendiary fire on Michael Street. If you don't know what incendiary is, that's arson fire, just for information. Again, I would like to say thank you to Chief Wilson and Detective Yates, our Fire Marshal Dennis Hamlin, and the State Fire Marshal's Office. We've got a warrant on that suspect for Michael Street Fire, which was last Saturday, I believe. Arrest has been made, thanks to Detective Yates, PD, and all the mentioned above, for a arrest of a suspect in arson on the South Jackson Street fire. So that'll be, well, we've got 4 warrants active right now for arson here in the city of Evanston County, and they're all different, four separate warrants. Also, just want to reiterate this, there is a reward for any information leading to the arrest of the individual that started the Lapidus fire. If you have any information on that, contact Detective Yates at Kennett Police Department at 888-4622, or Fire Marshal Dennis Hamlin at the Kennett Fire Department at 888-5337. Just so you guys will know, I know the mayor already knows this, Tyra and I attended a meeting for the hazard mitigations plan along with Melissa Combs and several other figures, heads in the county. Those